Hi, I'm Chris Sawyer, the Sommelier to the Stars. Playing it a little incognito right now because we're investigating the greatness of the Vouvray region of France. Right now, to my right, I've got Pamela Busch. Hello, superstar.
And I'm here investigating the greatness that is Fourreau.
So, this is the Fourreau. This is the new release of the Domaine du Clos Noudon. This is 2009 vintage. I'll just start this by saying 2009 vintage was a very good vintage there. It's a demi-sec, so that means it's a little bit sweeter of a wine. For those of you that don't know much about Vouvray, 100% Chenin Blanc. This is the region of France for Chenin Blanc, is this whole area right around Vouvray, which is just outside of the city of Tours, about an hour and a half outside of Paris.
Right. It's a day trip.
It's a day trip.
A long day trip.
Yeah, or you just stay there for a while because it's amazing and there's a lot to investigate.
Absolutely.
So I hope you guys are investigating this wine at your own special places.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about this producer. Pamela, you know this brand very well.
Fourreau. Yeah, I do because I pretty much descended on him completely uninvited in 2006. I was at Huet and I wasn't driving, so I figured, I don't need to necessarily spit out everything, but no. Seriously, we came across Fourreau, and we're like, wow, that's Fourreau. We're stopping. Yeah. That's just it. And we stopped, and it was almost like a scene from a movie because the person who was driving could barely drive a stick shift, and we stopped and went into his cellar, which is really, it was just like a room with a refrigerator and a table. And he could not have been more gracious. We spent about an hour and a half tasting with him. He opened up all of these older vintages for us, and we went the gamut from his pétillant, from his sparkling, all the way to some older wines too. I walked out of there with a half case of wine, and not walked out. I purchased it from him. Didn't steal it. Come on. His wines are just, they're amazing. To me, Fourreau and Huet are, like, they are to me, and have been throughout my career, really the benchmark when it comes to Vouvray. And I mean, yeah, he's working with old vines. For the most part, they're about 45 years old. While I don't believe he's certified, he practices essentially organic and viticulture. He does all manual harvest, uses natural yeast, very, very little wood is used. Not to say that he doesn't use any, but it's really more of an accent than anything else.
Yeah, I think he uses 5% new, and that's just about it. You know, a really important thing about Philippe is that it's not just the oak, but everything about what they do. And this is a very common trend in Vouvray, is everyone is going to organics, biodynamics, and is...
it's not just Vouvray, it's almost like the whole Loire in a sense.
Yeah. So malolactic fermentation, not used in these types of wines at all. No chaptalization, at least on behalf of Philippe, and especially not in this vintage, because this wouldn't happen because this is one of those great vintages, which is 2009. So, this is a lot of attention to detail. This is probably one of the best wineries to really pay attention to that. So, I hope you guys are tasting this right now. We had something come up a few minutes ago about my comments on the pairings, and we'll try to get to that as far as the pairings of food. But let's see what UC Beau says. These wines have been fascinating. Some seem to beg for more years, and the rest are just rocking the palate. Absolutely.
I think a lot of that as well, it's a matter of taste as well, but one thing that I love about Vouvray is that you can drink it when it's young and it can be delightful. But if you have the patience and you can put it away, like this is a baby. Yeah. This wine has 25, 30 years.
Yeah. This has a real earthy tone to it, too. I mean, I think a lot of you guys are probably getting that right now. It's got a lot of the citrusy notes, floral on the nose, but just it's very attractive. But it's just going to open up. And I say, with the remainder of the bottles, I think that's the great thing is that a lot of you have the bottles out there. You're going to be investigating each, this wine for a few hours now, and believe me, it's just opening.
Yeah, so, I mean, ideally, you want to open it up a few hours before you're going to taste it.
Yep.
And sip slowly. I know that can be hard.
Yep.
But
let's see. Elizabeth DeHoff says the Furrow is interesting. Ripe peaches on the nose, rich fruit, honey flavors on the palate. Pad Thai.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's going to be awesome pairing right there. It really is one of those wines that has that a little bit more richness. It's also unfined and unfiltered, so it's got a lot of playroom there as far as that goes. And Thai food just in general. And the types of herbs that they use in there, even cilantro, can go great with this.
Yeah, I mean, and so Travel Eat Love says that the Furrow from the nose, I thought it would be too sweet for me, but nice fruit and acid too. Absolutely, that's the thing with these wines is you think, okay, you smell it. It smells like honey. There's a lot of fruit. Like, wow, this is going to be, it's going to be over the top. But then you taste it, and the acidity, just like it just meets the sweetness head on. And it just creates such a beautiful sensation in your mouth.
You know, in the area, just as far as the pairings go, in Loire Valley and even Vouvray especially, there's a pork dish, a kind of a pork tenderloin, where they cook down the Chenin Blanc from Vouvray, and they make a sauce actually with red currants and cream cheese. And it's a fantastic dish. Like, it seems like, wow, that would never make any sense, but this wine has that kind of body to complement a sauce made with cream cheese, you know, but still cut through the, you know, the saltiness of pork.
Well, you say cream cheese, and automatically, of course, I think salmon, like smoked salmon,
or
course. Lobster, which this would be. You know, you don't. It's great. You could do something very fancy and gourmet. But you could also. I'd be very happy to have that with Sunday brunch.
And I'm a caper freak, so this would go great with the capers as well. One thing that I do get off the back end of this, which is something that you'll find every now and then with these styles of wine, is a little bit of quinine, and it's really got that on the back end. So, you know, quince, pear, apple. But that's a little bit more of a baked apple in this circumstance. But fantastic. I mean, there's good acid, and it finishes not super sweet either. It's got a dryness on that finish that's perfect.
No, it's...
So let's see. We've got just a beautiful nose.
It's a beautiful nose. I tried it the other day with some people who really are red wine drinkers. They hardly ever drink white wine, and I'd say 2/3 of them just thought that this wine was amazing. 1/3 of them didn't care for it, but 2/3 of them thought, like, wow, I never really knew white wine could be like this complex, and I think that it's I do think that Chenin Blanc is a good wine for Vouvray, especially for people who just think all white wine. They might think like Chardonnay. Or they might think, okay, Sauvignon Blanc, and I have these very distinct ideas of what white wine is. And Vouvray is just, it's a world into itself.
Absolutely. And, you know, inside this bottle, this is a world inside its own being, because 45-year-old average age of these vines, too. So you're getting those subsoils in here, too. And that minerality kind of comes in a little bit of a different form than you would be getting in a sect. You know, a little bit more tenacity in here.
And it has more body, too.
It really does. It's filling the entire mouth. And it's fantastic. You know, I remember you and I talking about this with a green curry, too. Would be a great pairing with this. You know, and savory cuisine in general, like a nice goat tart, goat cheese tart would be fantastic.
And also just we were talking about pike earlier. Obviously doing it with different types of fish. And because of the level of residual sugar, you could do something that has some heat. So I could even see doing like Mexican food. I mean, here we are in California, so Mexican food is almost, it's like
we do have a lot here.
There's a lot of Mexican food. And so I definitely could see like pairing this with, you know, I'm not saying like a burrito, but like definitely a Mexican influenced dish. I think you mentioned cilantro before, and I think that would be terrific. Yeah,
it would be. Well, I think we're probably going to battle on about our food and wine pairings for a little while.
I think we're in agreement.
No, we're in total agreement. I think we're just going to have to finish this last two. But in the meantime, thanks for being a part of this segment of the Vouvray experience. You know, to find out more about these wines that we've been talking about, go to Loire Valley wines.com. And thanks once again from Pamela, I, and the rest of the team here. We really appreciate you, and taste live. Cheers.
Cheers.